Good day everyone. So for today's discussion, we will discuss about the IP groups of Mangyan and Tagbanwa tribes. The topic about Mangyan will be reported by Elizabeth, Angelica, Rosalina, and Joanna. On the other group, Janelle, Aliana, Gina, and Rose will discuss the topic about Tagbanwa. So let's start now.
Mangyan. Mangyan is generic name for the eight indigenous group found on the island of Mindoro, southwest of the island of Luzon in the Philippines, each with its own tribal name, language, and costume. Mangyan.
Mangyan people is found at Occidental Mindoro. It is the western part of the island of Mindoro, south of Batangas. It is bounded on the north by the Calafate Passage, on the east by Oriental Mindoro, on the west by East Pass, and on the south by the Mindoro Strait. Mangyan
Geography of Mangyan is the generic name for the eight indigenous groups found on the island of Mindoro, southwest of the island of Luzon in the Philippines. Each with its own tribal name, we have language and customs. The total population may be around 280,000, but official statistics are difficult to determine under condition of remote areas. Reclusive tribal groups in some having little, if any, outside world contact. A certain group of Mangyans living in southern Mindoro call themselves Hanono Mangyans, meaning true, pure, or genuine, a term that they use to stress the fact that they are strict in the sense of ancestral preservation of tradition and practices. Yung Mangyan, ito ay tinatawag na generic name sa Mindoro na kung saan may sarili silang tribal name at ito ay language at customs. Ang tribal name ay kinakatawan bilang pagkakakilanlan sa sarili. Sila din ay may sariling wika, ang tawag nila dito ay Austronesian languages, na nabuo sa wikang buhid, Taubid at Hanono. Ang mga Mangyan ay may nakaugalian na sa tuwing sila ay nakaengkwentro ng mga misyonero, mga mangangalakal at opisyal na gobyerno, ay mas pinipili nilang tumanggap ng mapayapang pagsuko. Ang mga iba sa Mangyan ay tinatawag nila ang kanilang sarili na Hanuno o Mangyans, nang ibig sabihin ay pagpapakatotoo o tunay na isang term na ginagamit nila upang ipakita na pinapangalagaan nila ang kanilang tradisyon at ang kanilang nakasanayan. They have 8 dialects: First Buhid, Taubid, Hanunoo, Alangan, Iraya, Tadyawan, Tagalog in English. The ethnic groups of the island from north to south are Iraya, Alangan, Tadyawan, at Taubid, called Batangan by lowlanders on the west of the island, Buhid in Hanunoo. An additional group of the south coast is labeled Ratagnon. They appear to be intermarried with lowlanders. The group known on the east of Mindoro as Bangon may be a subgroup of Taubid, as they speak the western dialect of that language. They also have a kind of poetry which is called the Ambahan, and also they have a handicraft made by the Iraya people at the Iraya Mangyan, Community Village in Talipanan, Puerto Galera, Oriental Mindoro. They are skilled basket weavers and produce craft of the high quality. Worldview of Mangyan. The Mangyan have a complex spiritual belief system which includes the following deities. Mahal na Makaakong, the supreme being who gave life to all human beings merely by guessing at them. Pinayi, owner of a garden where all spirit rest. Yung Binayi, siya yung nagmamay-ari ng garden na kung saan dito nagpapahinga ang lahat ng espiritu. Siya din ay naikasal kay Bulungabon. Ang Kalagparay ay dapat Upang matiyak ang masaganang ani, may mga ritual silang sinasagawa sa bawat yugto ng palilinang ng bigas. Binayo is a sacred female spirit caretaker of the rice spirit or the kalagparay. She is married to the spirit bulungabon. The kalagparay must be appraised to ensure a bountiful harvest. It is for this reason that specific rituals are conducted in every phase of rice cultivation. Some of these rituals include the panudlak, the rite of the first planting, the rite of the rice planting itself, and the rites of harvesting, which consists of the magbukos or binding rice stalks, and the pamaghuan which follows the harvest. Yung binayo, siya yung tinatawag na kalagparay. Bulungabod, the spirit aided by 12 fierce dogs, earing souls are chased by these dogs and eventually thrown in a cauldron of boiling water, his binayo's husband. Bulungabon, ang isang espiritu ay tinutulungan ng 12 mababangis na aso. Ang mga kaluluwang nagkakamali ay hinahabol ng mga asong ito at nahuhulog sa isang kalderong kumukulo ng tubig. Here is the reference of the geography and worldview.
Social organization. Mangyan lives in peaceful society as compared to the head-hunting tribes of North Luzon and the brave division warriors tribe of the South. Peaceful societies are characterized by egalitarian social organization without status competition between men and without asymmetric relationship between men and women. Social organization.
Historical events and important event to group.
Alam naman natin na ang pangunahing pamumuhay ng mga
Historical events and important event to group.
Alam naman natin na ang pangunahing pamumuhay ng mga Mangyan ay ang pagtatanim gaya ng bigas, mais, kamote. Pero ang nag-iisang pinakahanga-hangang pagkakaiba ng mga Mangyan ay ang kanilang patuloy na paggamit ng isang katutubong script na batay sa India o syllabary para sa pagsulat ng kanilang ambahan o urukay. At ito naman ay isang uri ng tula at awit. Their languages are mutually unintelligible, though they share some vocabulary and use Hanuni script to write. Tabuid and Buhid are closely related. Ang Hanuno language is one of the script indigenous to the Philippines at ito'y ginagamit ng mga Mangyan in southeastern Mindoro. Ang Taubuid language naman is a language spoken by Taubuid Mangyans and it is divided into eastern and western dialect. The Bangon Mangyans also speak the western dialect of Taubuid. At ang Buhid language naman is a language spoken by Mangyans and it is also divided into eastern and western dialects. It uses the Buhid script which is encoded in the Unicode Black Buhid. Ang mga script na ito ay nakasulat sa pamamagitan ng kutsilyo na inuukit nila sa mga kawayan. Ang mga awit at mga tula na ito ay pwedeng samahan ng mga instrumento like gitara, fiddles, flute o alpa.
Issues confronting the IP group.
Yes, nung time na iyon, mababa ang tingin nila sa mga Mangyan dahil halos lahat sa kanila ay hindi gaanong nakapag-aral o di nabigyan ng edukasyon dahil sa bundok sila nakatira at malayo sa kabihasnan. Maraming mga katutubo ang matatalino at gustong makapag-aral, pero walang mga paaralan sa kanila. They cannot afford the financial cost because ang kanilang kabuhayan ay ang pagtatanim. Parang di insulting the Mangyan in their different appearance, way of life, and lack of knowledge. Gaya nung matagal nang maling akusado sa mga Mangyan sa pagsira sa kalikasan by engaging in kaingin, slash and burn. They says Mangyan are uneducated, know nothing about agriculture, pero hindi po totoo yan. We know how to respect forests, ang sabi ng namumuno sa mga Hanuno Mangyan na si Anoy Lubag. The Hanuno Mangyan shifting cultivation, also known as Sweden farming, has
has been extensively studied in the 1950s by anthropologist Harold Conklin of Yale University. Conklin stressed that such practice is different from the kaingin by non-Mangyan, in which fire is not prevented from spreading into other vegetation. Not because Mangyan tribe belongs to indigenous groups means they are uneducated. We may be advanced in some ways, but they were able to survive through the changes of time. Issues confronting the IP group.
Reference References.
The location of Tagbanwa. Central Tagbanwas are found in western and eastern coastal areas of central Palawan. They are concentrated in the municipalities of Aborlan, Quezon, and Puerto Princesa. Kalamayan Tagbanwa, on the other hand, are found in Barascos, Busuanga Island, Coron Island, and in some parts of El Nido.
Hi, I'm Ayaname Ignacio and I'll be discussing the geography and worldview of Tagbanwa. The Tagbanwan people are the original inhabitants of the Philippines. They are mainly found in the central and northern Palawan Islands, which lies between Mindoro and Borneo. There are concentrations in Coron, Aborland, and Puerto Princesa, which means they are pure or walang halo. Next, the Tagbanwa has two major classifications. Nahati sila sa dalawa. Meron tayong Central Tagbanwas and Calamian Tagbanwa. The Central Tagbanwas mainly found in the western and eastern coastal areas of Central Palawan. They are concentrated in the municipal of Aborland and Quezon and Puerto Princesa. Also, Calamian Tagbanwa are found in Barras Coast, Busuanga Island, Coron Island, and some part of El Nido. The Tagbanwa practice slash and burn agriculture, fishing, and wild boars hunting as part of their livelihood. Next, the Calayan Lake is considered as sacred place by the Tagbanwa people because they believe in panyain or panyain or spirits that dwell in nature, including the lakes, trees, and the seas like Kayangan Island. For example, certain areas are protected as fish sanctuaries or sacred sites where giant human-like octopus, they called panlalabute, are believed to dwell and which may bring harm on anyone who trespass in that area. Worldview. The Tagbanwa participate in the feast of fiestas of non-Tagbanwa communities. So they are not that strict when it comes to major holidays. They are allowed to participate with other fiestas. Amay or manong, uncle or inay or manang as aunt, and even avoids using the names of adults of the same generation, calling them onkoy as friend. Instead, one calls young boys dudoy and young girls as nene. So there is a strong taboo against mentioning their names. They don't call their parents by their names as sign of respect, especially to elders. Diseases are caused by salakap, small dark kinky-haired beings who once lived among the Tagbanwa in the mythical past. They believe that this creature from mythical past who lives among Tagbanwa is the one that causes diseases to them. Men who marry into a village for magical poisoning or ratyun by village natives against this and other harmful forces. Men carry mutya or amulets. They wear mutya as or amulets as protection to any harmful forces. Next, about their religion, Mangindusa, the punisher of crime. Um, One of the highest deities dwell in a multi-layered sky world. The rice plant has a soul, kalag, which is respected by the use of a special knife called kayid. Next, the Calamian Islands, the Tukbukin, a giant octopus appears when someone is under spell or breaks the incest taboo. The Talidmanin, ancestral spirits, cause illness. Offerings include rice, chicken, and betel nuts placed on platforms of rafts decorated with leaf streamers affixed to upright poles. Ritual drink fests attract the spirits with rice wine. This is also an occasion for dancing, blood packs, and courtship. Rites of passage. The Tagbanwa are monogamous and marry early as arranged by parents or other relatives or today more often by picking their own partners. So just like other cultures, they are monogamous. However, they practice to marry early. The Tagbanwa do not celebrate birthdays, but a father may swear to hold a panaad feast at the of the seventh birthday if he has lost many children already. The man sides initiate the first meeting with the woman side. At this time, they settle the bride's price or begay. This delivered before wedding and consists of two steps: giving money and fabric, payment of well, it could be pig, rice, cash, and etc. Both sides share the cost of the uglun or aglun, a dancing party that lasts a whole day and night. So they initiate a small party before the wedding. The groom's family asks for permission to enter the bride's house, but they only allowed after they pay a ritual fee. They call this saad, and only at midnight a groom can enter. The couple drink from the plate, and the bride takes the coin for safekeeping. So after the couple exchange vows, an old man who will pour a gin over their hand and onto a plate, and the bride should drink it. And upon death, the body is kept inside the house, in the house on a mat. So this only in Calamian Islands. The family stop works, summons distant relatives, and keep a vigil by the body. The surviving spouse is secluded for 7 days. But this among Tagbanwa in Palawan lang. Hi, I'm I'm
The material culture of Tagbanwa. The basic social unit of the Tagbanwas is their nuclear family composed of married couple and their children. They are monogamous. They live in houses that are made up of bamboo and wood for a strong frame. Anahaw lives for roof and walls. and bamboo slats for the flooring. Tagbanwa live in compact village of 45 to 500 individuals. Complementing the rich Tagbanwa rituals and social gatherings in the past was an assortment of musical instruments. These included the arouding or jaw harp, the babarak or nose flute, the tipano or mouth flute, the pagang and tibuldo, two variations of the bamboo tube zithers, the kodlong or boatload, the gimbal or drum, whose top was made from the skin of the bayawak or monitor lizard, and the tiring composed of lengths of bamboo with openings of various sizes, producing of different notes when struck with a stick.
Historical event, important event to the group. The Tangbanwa's relationship with the spirit world is the basis for their rituals, celebration, and dance. The many ceremonial feasts constructing Tagbanwa life are based on firm belief in a natural interaction between the world of the living, the world of the dead. These ceremonies are ritual take place on all levels, ranging from rituals performed within the family to those led by the community's leader on behalf of the people. Such celebration call for special structure to be built, such as ceremonial, planned for, and wraps. Rituals offering include rice, chicken, and betel nut.
The two rituals, the pagbuwis and the runway. The buwis is held 3 times a year in November and December. The latter is when the moon is visible in the sun, called lunar eclipse, and runway is described as being the most dramatic of all the Tagbanwa rituals. It is observed only once a year in the evening. After the whole month of December, it takes place on the beach near the mouth of the Aberlon River. The runway, like the path, can be used to seek protection against the pandemic. Ang ritual ay nagsisimula sa takip silim at nagtatapos sa madaling araw.
The five rituals are the pagbuwis and the runway. First phase, the building of the bangkaran or banglay, a 3.6 ceremonial raft. Second phase, the panawag invocation to the spirits of the dead and the 9 deities who rode the kawa on the sea, prayers by the ritual's leader, lighting of the candle, and offering of ritual foods to the deities. Third phase, the second call to the deities to partake of the food, which the signal for the children to dive into the mound of food on the raft, and eat as much as they can, and the cleaning up and refer of the raft. Fourth phase, the third invocation to the 9 deities, followed by the individual family offerings represented by a woman. Fifth phase includes group singing and dancing after the raft has disappeared.
Pagdiwata. It is the fairies and the babaylan who are responsible for choosing place for a new purification, putting spirits around, providing magical charms for hunters and fishermen, and healing for all kids of illness. While any adults can ask for the spirits of the dead in other Tagwanwa rituals. Only the Babaylan can call them to divination. Lang. Bilang is the most important ritual for the dead. This taking place after the rice harvest. So the the fullest will be abandoned. Each family is expected to host one or more of the rituals. Rituals begin from the ritual of divination to determine which of the relative's spirit has caused a person's illness. The group is known for their highly involved rituals. It is the divination which is performed in celebration of other occasions. For example, just a bountiful harvest, wedding, and so on. The rituals include drinking rice wine, using straws from stoneware jars, exchanged from China. The group, too, is one of the few remaining ethnic groups that still use their own Cyrillic writing. Cultivation of slash and burn is a livelihood question. Social organization. Ang lipunan ng Tagbanwa ay binubuo ng mga autonomous na nayon na kumikilala sa isang pinuno ng etniko, ang masikampo. Ang Gino ay mga namumuno sa pamayanan na namumuno ayon sa kanilang malawak na kaalaman sa kaugalian na batas at sa pagkakaroon ng mga supernaturally powerful heirlooms. Ang mga nayon ay bahagi ng pambansang sistema ng lokal na administrasyon. Ang tradisyonal na kaayusang panlipunan ay nakikilala sa pagitan ng mataas na dugo, mababang dugo at dati, ang mga alipin ay tinatawag na ulipin. Issues confronting the IP groups. Human rights violation. Indigenous people, human rights are being violated. Many indigenous people suffered because of the crossfire that happening on our country. In addition, the basic social needs were not given to them because of the rate of poverty of indigenous people. On the other hand, the Philippine government approved CADT to help indigenous community to protect and control what's theirs, but then the human rights of these people are still being violated. Conclusion. Each groups have differences to each other, but then they suffered from the same dilemma. Self-discrimination, human violation to their rights and their properties. But there are implemented laws that will help them. However, the struggles that they're suffering are still there, making their living harder.
References.